Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D Line, soon to everyone's favorite football podcast. My name is Malibongwe. Today, to speak football with me is Mihlali and the legendary Herman Gibbs. Um, just remember, the D Line is courtesy of the Clash, your IOL sports show or YouTube sports channel, rather. So do catch the class there and do subscribe and follow all the insights that you will be getting from our top sports scribes, football, rugby, cricket, and all the other codes combined. South is doing well these days. The other time, Mr. Gibbs was talking about the happy index, and hopefully it looks like things are going well as much as football is concerned in South Africa. We've got the big three up there competing, competing. Well, I would say competing for the league, but they are chasing each other there up in the league, and the energy is high up as Coach Hugo Broos prepares for the AFCON and the World Cup. And coming is the friendly against neighbors, Chi Polo Polo. We saw yesterday or on Thursday, Hugo Broos announced at Safa House the squad for Chipolo Polo with some two new faces there in Keleto Makhaula from Skukuni United and Orlando Pirates midfielder Mandisi Masindi Nemtajela rather. And it was quite interesting to see Mfundo Shabalala dropped and coach made some remarks there as to what was the reason for dropping Shabalala and taking them there. Maybe Mihlali, you were at the squad announcement. Can you share some insights there, as much as that is concerned?
Yeah, no. Greetings to our viewers to yet another episode of the Clutch and also our podcast, the Line Football Podcast. Yeah, I was at Safa House for that squad announcement that was made by Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Broos, and then like you did already allude that he was saying that because he wants to see maybe a couple of names that will possibly wait on the wings so that should anything happen to his tried and tested the players that he's seen before, because he said that it doesn't mean that just because it doesn't select him to for this international break, he doesn't believe in his qualities or he's thrown him to the side. He just wants to say that he wants to see a new face, someone will bring maybe something different from the team. How does he really adapt with the players, and also how is it that he will actually fare at a training, not just only seeing him on the pitch. So it's quite interesting that he said that, but let's see what actually happened when he names his final squad. I think on the 1st of December or around those days or so.
Yes. And on that same note, Mr. Gibbs, welcome yourself. On the same note, but do you feel that dropping someone like Ikram Reyners when we're actually trying to fix our goal situations, how do we look at that one?
Well, I think he might have taken his cue from Sundowns because Reyners hasn't been a regular in the starting 11, and he might have just gone off the boil. And lately now, Peter Shalaluli has been preferred to him. So I think Hugo Broos is taking his cue from Sundowns and looking at the situation there, and that's what he's gone for. But on the whole, Hugo is pretty much set in his views. He has a few players in mind, and those players will form the crux of the squad. And there might be just be one or two other players that will be fringe players on the fringe that will come in, and he's also preparing for the AFCON, so there's not much room for maneuver.
Yes. No, I understand. It could be the situation like you're saying, taking the cue from sometimes, but our problems and sometimes problems are not the same. But true to that, like you say, they've got Peter Sharley, the evergreen Peter Sharley. So yeah, but cool. Then there's a Lorch situation, which I think is probably the elephant in the room as much as Bafana selections is concerned. Um, Already there's been similarities drawn to the situation with Bruce and Themba Zwane, when he was standing on his ways, refusing to call up. I think Themba Zwane and Andy Lechard at the time when they were in top form, and he later realized his mistakes after we had failed to qualify for the World Cup. And he later, well, I believe he did apologize. He later came back and called Zwane, and well, we saw what happened afterwards. Mshishi delivered. I mean, can we draw parallels to that situation with the 32-year-old Mkosi Lorch?
Well, I think the situation now is Lorch will have to select himself. You know, he will have to play out of his skin on a regular basis to get into the side. We know that Broos is not excited about him. He has made some headlines. He's had some very, very good reviews, but he hasn't done enough yet to sway Hugo Broos. So it's got to a stage now where he must select himself. And in order to do that, he must play out of his skin the next few weeks, and then he'll force his way into the team. As for Themba Zwane, well, Broos was big enough to say he had made a mistake. But I'm afraid that door is about to be closed now. That chapter is about to be written.
Yeah.
Injuries have robbed this man from continuing his career at a ripe old age at the highest level.
Yeah.
So his time is very limited, and I think Broos has realized that and has said as much that I don't think Zwane is going to make the AFCON. So that also rules him out for the World Cup, unless Mihlali can persuade him to do otherwise.
you putting much trust on Mihlali though. Mr. Balega, are you still there with us? He looks to be frozen out. There was a problem even the last time out. He got frozen out whilst we were still recording. Yeah, no, he's frozen out again. But the conversation continues. On
Maybe
the line,
maybe he'll come in as we are talking.
Yeah, no, he'll come back.
Sure.
I think it's just frozen out because technology can have its ways. But talking about it's easier to say Lorch will have to select himself, and the time there, the time there is not there's not so much time, and maybe again it's probably the same thing that Broos is trying to avoid. That okay, you build a team around someone due to their form, but then you still have to balance age. I mean, there's so many youngsters who probably do 2 more World Cups that are performing well, and maybe Broos is looking at that instead of just going on form for Lorch.
I think it might be premature to talk about the World Cups now, but I think for now the focus will be AFCON and nothing else. I think there will be a few guys who will miss out on the AFCON squad, but they will certainly be considered for the World Cup next year. Of course, a lot depends on how the team will perform in Morocco. It looks as if Broos has already decided who his players are. And if those players provide and produce, by that I mean at least finish up in the semi-final, then we've got a very good chance of making the final and going one better than we went last time, unless Mihlali, can provide a different argument.
Yeah, back. Yeah, we're still talking about the situation with Lorch here, and also having drawn some parallels to the Themba Zwane issue. And then there's a situation that maybe Hugo Broos, as much as Zwane came back and delivered, but age was always against him. I mean, could it be something that is, influencing Broos's decision against selecting Lorch?
Yeah, no, he did actually say in his comments that he's not the future, and also Broos, I think, is already starting a succession plan whereby he wants to leave the jersey better than a better place, that is having integrated more youngsters into the team, so that whenever that his successor arrives after the World Cup, it's easy just for him to run with the baton with a number of players that already know each other. So with Lorch already 32, that means that it will be hard for him to actually be in the team for actually longer than it is now with him just like arriving. So it's very quite maybe important for Hugo, especially in the position that Lorch is playing in, because he's looking at senior stars that could bring a different flair, and also still young, because two plays in the same position. Relebohile plays in the same position. Mwankota, there are a couple of them. Keletso Maghalwa now who's just been integrated into the team. So there are quite a number of them. And I don't think Broos wants to change that, at the moment. He believes that these are the players that will actually, take the national team far after he's left. Because you must also remember that he doesn't want to leave the team in cracks. He wants to make sure that it's solid, so that it actually builds on the foundation that is laid in the past 5 years. So yeah, let's hope that we don't get to a situation where we feel like we could have done, Bruce could have done better by changing his mind, because you'll remember that he said that at first, that when he spoke about Timbers1, that I'm not a fool. So whenever that we see that there's potentially, I'll probably change my mind. But with Lorch, I don't think he will change his mind at all. Yeah, it was also we were one that were thinking that with the team also going to Morocco, it will be easy to find someone who's already adapted that side. But now Bruce, wants to go with the players that he's had at his disposal for the past a few years.
Yeah. No, thanks. And then I'll just bring on you on this one, because I think when you were having connectivity issues, Mr. Gibbs was talking about the squad, because the squad that is going to the AFCON possibly not being the exact squad that will go to the World Cup. According to Mr. Gibbs, he feels that the players that miss out on the World Cup, on the AFCON selection, will still have almost a similar chance to make the World Cup squad. I mean, I could believe that already Bruce has 80% of his squad for AFCON selected, and only injuries really can drop can lead to a player who's gone to the AFCON and being dropped within 5 months to the World Cup.
Yeah, I know that's true. It's only real injuries, and maybe even form. I mean, if for instance the situation of Ikram Renas maybe not getting game time at Sundowns, maybe that could actually hamper his chances of even going to AFCON. But yeah, we've seen what Renas has done for the national team. But the other problem with that is that he's not been a starter, and now with Makgopa together with Lion Foster doing well, so his chances of actually making the cut could actually be slimmer if he doesn't get enough game time at Sundowns, just before AFCON. But like you rightfully say, I think Bruce wants to live and die with this team, if I'm putting that in the right context, because these are the players that have made his name. These are the players that has made his career with Bafana Bafana. So I think it's only fair for them to actually taste what it means to qualify for the World Cup, and also taste what it means to actually compete for that AFCON crown, because you will remember as well that it did say that you will hear coaches and scouts and people jumping up and down now just because of qualifying for the World Cup. And he's one person that has even said before that he doesn't respond to anyone when it comes to making a collapse or selection for the national team. So I think 80% of the squad and probably 70 for the World Cup is already made up, and it's just about those small issues, small details of injuries and possible form and all that. But with all that this team has achieved together, I think Coach Hugo wants to take the squad to the World Cup. And I think with the World Cup also, you must understand that I don't think there are any quite expectations from the team, to be quite honest. He did say that when you get there, I mean, they must expect us to actually just compete in the group stages, going to the next rounds and all that. I think that would be a bonus. But when it comes to AFCON, expectations, because I did ask him that question, that what is it that would be a successful campaign? And then he said that at least emulating what we did in Ivory Coast could be deemed as sort of success. But if we get more, that is, get to the final or even win AFCON, that would be an achievement.
Yeah, no, you can say that we South Africans definitely want to go. They want the podium, not only podium finish, they want a gold one this time around. So, South Africans, are too pleased when it comes to achieving it's good sports, so they wouldn't want to repeat that. But Mr. Gibbs, just looking at all the preparations, the Chile Polo Polo friendly coming up. And then we've got the timeline says it says December 8th when it announced the squad. I mean, would you say it seems as if if you haven't been looked at right now, chances of getting selected for AFCON are really close.
I think maybe just before Mr. Gibbs answers, I think you'll announce the squad on the first, and then the team will assemble for camp on the 8th.
On the 8th, okay, thanks for
So
correction.
that means that before they assemble for camp, you must have already announced the squad. Because I think the assemble for camp on the 8th at the University of Pretoria High Performance Center, and then they will depart for Morocco on the 17th. So a week before that, he must have already put his head on the block to say that. So you can look at now the time frame, and who are already on the end of the first week of November. So chances are now, if you're not part of this squad that is actually playing against Chipolo Polo, so my bra.
Yeah. But Mr. Gibbs will tell you that strange things have happened in the past.
Yes, of course,
100%.
there could be injuries, there could be suspensions. For example, one fella that won't be able to play is Mbokasi, the Pirates' central defender. Yesterday, he was slapped with a one-match ban. And I thought it would be my bounden duty to write to Vincent Checker and say to him, listen, man, get your notebook out. This poor player has been suspended. Don't, for heaven's sake, forget to tell Hugo Broos, this guy has been suspended.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, there can be injuries. It's a pity, though, that they play in Zambia. Zambia is very much disorientated at this time. They're without a coach. A new coach has just been appointed. He's going to be picking up the pieces. It would have been nice to put him up against a side that would have really tested them. Maybe initially, like the plan was a South American side, but of course the money is not there. And I think Hugo Broos is not altogether worried about that. He's very conscious of the fact that the players are in a period where there's a heavy workload for Pirates and Sundowns players, with the bulk come from those clubs. So I think he's okay with it that we're playing Zambia, because we won't be exerted, and the players can maybe just be in cruise mode for that game. He wants to look at one or two players. The bulk of the players he's already made his mind up, and they are the ones that will report for camp on the 8th. Don't forget, on the 6th, 2 days before that, you will have the calling knockout final.
Final, yeah.
And you know, these finals have got a habit of bringing up injuries. And some of those players who are in the squad won't be reporting that morning.
Yeah.
You know, Hugo Broos will be getting the notes, the sick notes from his club, hopefully, because, you know, they don't inform him.
Yeah.
He just finds out sometime during on the grapevine, hey, this player's out, that player's out, and then much later he has to call up replacements, and I'm sure Mihlali will agree with me on that score.
Yeah, it will be tricky on that one. Indeed, it will be tricky because, I mean, yes, players want to win, you know, those bonuses with the curling, but at the same time, you know, players want to go to big tournaments with the national team. So we're having for tricky times there indeed. And Mr. Gibbs, you mentioned Mbogazi. He received, of course, a red card against Zimbabwe, and then he was fined one match ban. I believe the Rwanda match should be enough for him to, you know, for him to serve as a suspension. And then he was left with that 108,000 rands fine. But maybe just to go straight to curling, as you talk about it, that, you know, players will be caught, coaches will be caught between, you know, between places. Yes, players might want to make sure they don't get niggles that will keep them out of the Bafana squad. We are seeing this weekend the semi-finals, Richards Bay hosting Orlando Pirates in Devon on Saturday, and again Golden Arrows hosting Moromo Gallants on Sunday, also in Devon. It's a pity Mihlali has gone off there because I want to hear from your side. What are the chances that Hugo Broos gets his wish as much as Pirates' future is concerned in this this year's installment of the curling? Does
Yeah,
Bay
look,
what it takes?
I can't see that Pirates will lose this game. They will definitely want to win. You know, they lost in the previous cup tournament. This one, they want to win. They've never yet. Well, it's been a long time since they've won this cup, when it was called some other name, Coca-Cola or Rothmans or something like that. And that was in 2011. And in the history of this tournament, they've been in the final 8 times, and they've only lost once. They only won once. But I can't see this Pirates team losing to Richards Bay. And I think that Golden Arrows might just have too much in the tank for Moromo Gallants. But I'm afraid Hugo Broos won't have his wish of seeing Orlando Pirates exiting from this thing. Oh, no, he put the mockers on them. He said, I'd like to see them lose, you know, but I can't see that happening. I think Pirates has got too much in the tank for Richards Bay, who in any case has gone too far already in this competition.
Yeah, there's our culling man there, Mihlali. He's got the colors to match. Maybe he's got even the round ball there, to tell us the scores. Wow,
No,
what do you
no,
foresee there?
no. But also, like I think like Mr. Gibbs has rightfully said that I don't think that also Pirates would lose to Richards Bay. At the moment, they are on a high when it comes to domestic football. Remember that they've won 7 league games out of 8 and only through with Sundowns. And then obviously they beat Magesi, the outgoing champions, to actually get to where they are at this moment. 100% Richards Bay may have actually eliminated Paris from this competition. You remember, uh, I think in the second round 2 seasons ago under Jose Rivero, but a lot has changed since then. Paris are where they are at the moment, and they are showing to be on an ongoing streak when it comes to domestic football, especially after being eliminated from the Champions League. So I think they will actually get to the final, and chances and also the odds are tipping them to actually go all the way. And I understand Hugo's sentiment saying that he wants to have players maybe who are with a clean bill of health, but he must also understand that these are the games that players are supposed to actually play. So for him to actually have a wish of actually Paris being eliminated earlier or not reach the final, I don't think that is possible, and I don't think that's what the players want either. And also, you must remember that when big teams actually do well in cup competition, we are more or less bound to see, sold out, finals, which is what is good for domestic football as well. And then maybe going to Golden Arrows together, Marumo Gallants. Wow, I think that is going to be quite some game. If you look at how Arrows have been doing well under Coach
Yeah.
Mangoba Mngweti, yes, they may have lost, their last league game to Orlando Paris, but there's some bit of, camaraderie within the squad. Players are coming out and showing themselves. You'll remember Sianandlo recently won the Player of the Month, and that shows just how much he's been delivering for Coach Bangoba, Coach Musa Pulankulu, and Coach Kafeso Dishatwe. And yeah, going to Marumo Gallants, what a formidable side. They are slowly sneaking their way through up the ranks and all that. And that speak of the work that is actually done by their coach Alexander Lafitte, who's only 29 years of age, by the way. So let's see what that game has in store. But I foresee, from where I'm sitting already, I think this will be a Pirates and an Arrows final, which I think will produce a fireworks.
Yeah, no,
I'm just
then
already putting my head on the block, by the way.
yeah, no, you called it. You called it. Since you just called it, let's leave it there. As much as culling is concerned, go back to matters of national importance. I was saying earlier that the big three are chasing each other up there. In the log with Sundowns leading with 25 points after 11 games, and then 12 games rather, and Pirates number 2 with 22 points after 10, and then we've got Chiefs 22 points after 11 games. I mean, that's an ideal situation that everyone wants to see the big three going for the league, isn't
What
it?
I'm just hoping is that everyone keeps the momentum up until the last day of the season, because we know that there's crunch time where things are going up, and then teams that are not used to actually fighting or finishing in the top 8 must just fall on the wayside.
That sounds that sounds like a bomb. Firework. This guy is unleashing some shots there, Mr. Gibbs, towards people or teams that are not used to compete for the league. I mean, we know that among the big three, only one team hasn't been a top 8 team in the past 2 seasons at least. So I'm not sure whether you are directing
Name and shame.
your shots towards Naturena or something there, Mr. Valero.
No, but we're being honest. I'm not here, no thumb sucking or anything, or just maybe smoke. No,
Yeah.
but it's the honest reality. This is the team that didn't finish in the top 8 for 2 consecutive seasons, and for us to think that they will continue with the momentum up until May, we could be making wishful thoughts, but it will be interesting for South African football if they continue with the momentum. And maybe just already touching into it is that I think Chiefs have a better chance of actually doing well when it comes to this race than Sundowns and Pirates, because you will check that if Pirates gets to the final, they'll play until the 6th of December. But if Sundowns are also going to go back to continental football, so that will also make their schedule a bit congested. But with Chiefs, with them only focusing on the league, it's very important that they continue with the momentum. And now they're about to get a 2-week break, given the fact that we are going to international football. But let's see whether they have the experience to actually capitalize and actually put more pressure on both Sundowns and Pirates.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Gibbs, I think I'm
No,
starting
no.
to realize the colors that are associated with Mihlali's shirt today.
Yeah, no, the irony of this Kaizer Chiefs team is that they're actually doing well by default. They've lost their coach, and now they're doing better than ever. And when the coach was absent, seeing to domestic affairs, they were winning. And when he came back, they lost. And now that he's gone, they're winning again. So
Yeah.
let's hope they don't appoint the coach. They carry on like this with their caretaker coaches because they're getting the results. But it also is good for South African football that Kaizer Chiefs are winning, that they're up there. We see this season there's been some positive growth in the PSL, despite the PSL. You know, there's been quite a few full houses already this season, more than we've had in previous season. So
Yes, yeah.
it's good that Kaizer Chiefs are up there. They look like they are picking up the momentum. They're getting ready for Africa. I'm glad to see that they're sending a delegation ahead to check out what's happening in Egypt. You know, that's the way Sundowns do it. So it shows that there is some sort of a solid preparation on their part for the Group D assignments. They're playing two teams from Egypt.
Yeah.
So that's going to be uphill all the way.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting. We've spoken about this in the earlier episodes about this situation with Chiefs and Nabi, because it was the second time. Now it's the third time. When he's gone, there seem to be, to be good stuff coming through. But
Yeah, and also maybe just to touch on that. Sorry. Yeah, I think also the fact that they won't have a lot of players away on the international break, and all that. I think it gives the coaches time to work with the entire team, especially with those that are doing well. Maybe it's good riddance that Mdu hasn't been selected because it's been on form. So with this break shortly now that is coming up for them, I think that will do them a world of good. But also, coaches, they also like to say that, maybe that will also kill the momentum. But I think it's just about bringing everyone onto board and actually trying to make sure that they have those combinations that will work for them both on the continent and here in domestic football.
Yeah, no, true, true. I was actually also going to add there, as you are saying that, I mean, it's an advantage for them that they don't have, bulk of their squad involved on international duty as opposed to their opponents. And they also, I was looking at their fixtures. Their fixtures are actually sort of easy. They were playing Orbit just recently. Then you've got Mageste in the mix, you've got Chipper there in the mix for them ahead of December. So, I mean, it's going to be almost an easy ride for them to go through. But, gents, for this weekend, Mihlali has called it Pirates and Arrows going to the final. Before we close it, what is your prediction there, Mr. Gibbs, as much as the culling is concerned?
Look, I don't believe we can argue with Mihlali. He knows this game inside out.
Yeah.
And I think he's saying that on very, very good authority. And I'm afraid I have to agree with him that we are Zambia Pirates versus Golden Arrows in the final.
Yeah.
Power to the people.
On that bombshell, gentlemen, let's close it there, and we'll resume again next week another episode of the D-Line. Thank you very much, gents, and have a great weekend.
And from Ikapa, it's over and out.
Over and out, gents.
Bye, Sav.